Well, we all sort of saw it coming. Jerry Jeudy has been traded to the Cleveland Browns, and my initial reaction was, all right, get some cap space for the Broncos, get some draft picks, and then I saw the draft compensate or the trade compensation. Just 2 day 3 picks, a fifth and a sixth for Jerry Jeudy. On yesterday's video, we were talking about the Broncos possibly slash kind of likely trading Jerry Jeudy, and I thought they would be able to get a second for him. I know he has been underwhelming through 4 seasons, but he's still got that first round pick allure. He hasn't been a complete bust or anything. But ultimately, when you've got a near $13 million fully guaranteed contract and cap hit, teams aren't going to give you a whole lot of draft compensation when it's a loaded wide receiver draft class that they can just use one of their second round picks on. So the Broncos get 2 day 3 picks, but I think more importantly from Denver's perspective, it's not about what they got for Jerry Jeudy. It's what they got off their books because of this trade, which is $13 million in cap space. Now, as I'm filming right now, I haven't seen an updated cap number, but I'm going to ballpark it in the neighborhood of $30 million, which does give the Broncos a ton of flexibility, but it does make you wonder, like, did you have to release Justin Simmons if you could get $13 million off your books by trading Jerry Jeudy? Sure would have loved to have found a way to keep Justin Simmons on this team, and ultimately, it's been a pretty crappy 72-ish hours for Broncos country. Like, minus the new contract for Tim Patrick, Justin Simmons, a leader of this team, is gone. Jerry Jeudy, after 4 seasons, is gone, and I don't want to say I told you so, but I want to say I told you guys so. Back during the NFL trade deadline, if you weren't going to be a contending team with this roster, I wish they traded some guys back then, because I think you could have gotten a whole lot more for Jerry Jeudy and gotten at least something for Justin Simmons. But instead, they kept it together, and hey, they went on a good run, and salute to them for making an effort. Ultimately, it fell short, but maybe that was a little bit of short-sightedness. So let me know what you think of the trade. If you want to give it an A grade, you're a Browns fan watching. I would think from the Broncos' perspective, this is a C-. To get a fifth and a sixth for Jerry Jeudy. The Broncos only had 6 draft picks going into the draft, so they definitely needed more picks, but I just thought you could get more for Jerry Jeudy. And maybe that was me being a little bit naive, me looking through the lens of 15th overall pick, Biletnikoff winner. Surely you can get more. But ultimately, no. There's some good wide receivers in free agency this year. Calvin Ridley, Gabe Davis. This wide receiver class is loaded in the draft, so my guess is there wasn't a huge market for Jerry Jeudy, and if that's the case, the Broncos were going to get whatever offer they could, which was basically, can someone take this $13 million bar tab off of our hands? And the Browns offered to pick it up. They've got a very rich owner like Denver and Jimmy and Dee Haslam, and they sent over a fifth and a sixth, which kind of seems like highway robbery, but I think you got to look at it from the lens of 13-ish, $12.9 million in cap savings. That's what Denver was shooting for. They weren't shooting for getting great draft compensation, right? If that was the case, I think they would have held on to Jerry Jeudy because there wasn't a great offer that they couldn't turn down. But instead, it looks like their priority was getting their books straight a little bit and getting some money off their books, and I think kind of trying to reload for 2025. And maybe there's a free agent or two they have their eye on and they plan on aggressively pursuing. And with $13 additional million in cap space, that would definitely help by bringing in an extra player or two. But man, I just keep going back to fifth and a sixth. Now, when you think about Jerry Jeudy's time in Denver after 4 seasons, it was underwhelming. I don't think anyone's going to tell you otherwise, right? He did not live up to the first-round draft expectations, especially with some of the guys that were taken after him. I don't think it's completely on Jeudy's fault, but I'm not going to be Jerry Jeudy's agent and act like he had no skin in the game. Like, the drops were a problem early on, and then we had just some lack of burst towards the end of the season this year. Didn't pick up where he left off after the 2022 season. And to play devil's advocate, he went through 3 different head coaches. I don't even want to count how many play callers. Teddy Bridgewater, Drew Lock. Then you've got Brett Rippon, Russell Wilson, and Jarrett Stidham, and I'm sure I'm forgetting another guy or two, and that's just a very sad, pathetic stat right there. So a lot of quarterbacks and a lot of coaches and a lot of play callers ultimately led to it just not working out for him in Denver. So unfortunately, the Broncos are looking towards, I should say, what's going to be, I think, a little bit of a down season in 2024. I thought if they got more picks for Jeudy or earlier picks, they could try to use that to get a quarterback in round 2 if they don't find one they like at pick number 12. And maybe their plan all along is to go with J.J. McCarthy, sit him for a year, and get ready for 2025, but that doesn't feel like a Sean Payton type of move, right? Sean Payton wants to win, and he wants to win right now. He was cussing out guys after preseason losses last year. So Jerry Jeudy off to the Cleveland Browns. I think it's a good move for the Browns, right? They were in the playoffs last year. They're trying to go all in right now. So from their side of the trade, I think it's an excellent acquisition. There's high upside with Jerry Jeudy. It's likely going to be a 1-year rental unless they plan on extending him, which maybe they do. I'm not too confident that after 4 seasons they feel like he's worthy of a big extension, but if they can find a middle ground on an appropriate extension, maybe Jeudy would agree to it. I'm sure he's going to want to play out the last year of this contract and try and get a big free agent contract next offseason. But the Browns, I think, get a good pickup with Jeudy adding some speed to their wide receiver room and them trying to maximize Deshaun Watson. And as for the Broncos, they get priority number 1, some cap space, and then some pennies on the dollar in terms of draft compensation. So ultimately, I want to hear your opinion on this. What do you guys think of this trade? I talked about it for a few days now. I think if there was a receiver to get moved, it would be Jerry Jeudy. And a big reason was I thought you could get more from him for him. And I was, I guess, way over my head in terms of what you could get for Jerry Jeudy. But you do get some draft picks, and maybe you could try and bundle those picks to move up a little bit in the draft. Now Denver is up to 8 picks in the draft, so they needed so much more draft capital, and a 5th and a 6th isn't nothing, but it's not a whole lot of something. I mean, you can get a good guy in round number 5, but round 6 and 7, it's really slim pickings at that point in the draft. So thank you for tuning into an at-home edition of the Broncos Breakdown. Man, Jeudy gone, just a 5th and a 6th. That feels like a trade that's just not going to sit well with Broncos country. When I got the notification, I think from Adam Schefter first, I was like, whoa, Jeudy to the Browns. And I was like, 5th and a 6th? That's it? But it is what it is. So let me know what your thoughts are about the trade in the comment section below. And the funny thing is, the video I was actually going to put out today was a 5-step plan for a perfect free agency for the Denver Broncos. And step number 2 was trade Jerry Jeudy. And I had the Browns on the list. I just thought it might be for their 2nd rounder. Instead, this might be borderline highway robbery.